From Alvaro Cristobal. I'm just a stranger, watching an interesting stranger express the same emotions and similar life experiences as mine. The internet is a strange and fascinating thing. I feel somehow I know this guy even though we've never met. Yeah, I think that the goal of my YouTube channel, primarily, is to help and relate to other people. I went through a lot of my early life, feeling like I was alone in a lot of the emotions that I was experiencing. I came up in a Catholic environment where there's not a lot of open discussion about the kind of like sinful like actions and thoughts that you'll have throughout your time, which can lead to a lot of like internalized self-hatred. So I'm glad that something that I said rang to you in a way that made you feel like you related to me and got to understand me a little bit better. That is completely the goal of the channel, and I'm very happy to hear that I was able to make that impact with you. So thank you for letting me know about that. I appreciate it a lot. We're going to go ahead and on to the next one here. We're going to have from, looks like the name is Abbas Lecil. I do not speak French, I apologize. The problem is, Josh did not quit video games. He made that video reflecting on how they negatively impact his life, but he never attempted to quit, and he never intended to quit. This is implicitly obvious in his later videos. He indicates that he's still playing WoW, etc., and I confirmed it with the email back and forth with the guy. Here's the thing, my dude Reno. I never once said in that video that Josh had quit video games. I was very clear that he had inspired me to quit them, not that he had quit them himself. Now, you might think, oh, well, if somebody's inspired to do something, that means the other person obviously did it. No. Fuck that shit. Here's the thing. I get that you, like, think that you know more or whatever. I get that you, like, get off on, like, being an asshole on the internet, but no. I never once said in the video. I rewatched it just to make sure. I never once said that he quit video games. Whenever he made the video talking about wasting his 20s, I realized that at that point, I was like 22 maybe. I realized I had, like, wasted my 20s up to that point, and I did not want to have those similar regrets that he did. So I decided, because of what he had talked about, to quit video games and to focus more on my real-world stuff, because he said that one of his regrets was playing too many video games early in his 20s. So that's my response to you, bro. On to the next one. We got this from Gonzalo Antonio, who just said, "You're good-looking." I don't normally just feature, like, random comments that say, like, you're ugly or you're good-looking, but I do want to highlight positivity occasionally on the channel and talk about how much I appreciate people who are just being nice. I have a lot of people like giving comments, giving like unnecessary feedback about my appearance, and it's really frustrating seeing that and knowing that people are like judging me based on how I look. I think it's stupid. I think that like the input is annoying at best and malicious at worst, because like almost every day someone's like, "Hey, shave your head this way," or "Hey, like take these pills," or whatever. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm very happy with how I look. So having somebody just be like normal positivity, just say I'm good looking, it's appreciated. It's a breath of fresh air compared to what people will normally try to do. So I appreciate that quite a bit. We're going to go on to that next comment here, and we're going to be going from the man, the myth, and the legend, Bald Stanley. I'd rather have tornadoes and snowstorms over earthquakes, and I live 1 mile from one of the 5 big Great Lakes. So me growing up in an area where tornadoes are around is really annoying. Tornadoes are very destructive. There's a place that's like a few hundred miles away that got like leveled by a tornado a few years ago, and it's scary. Tornadoes are not something you should fuck with. Like, you can't do anything about them. There's not a whole lot of preparation you can do to really get through a tornado. That being said, I'd rather live around Tornado Alley than I would around like a hurricane area, because drowning to me is inherently more scary than getting blown away by a tornado and dying that way, personally. I think that the best place to kind of live would honestly be in an area where you have earthquakes alone, but I haven't experienced an earthquake that's like dangerous enough to like pose a threat to me, so maybe I'll change my mind if that happens. But it seems like earthquakes are the easiest thing to deal with if you know they're coming, because you can just go outside and or like be away from like things that'll fall on you, and typically it should be fine. I don't think the Earth's usually going to split like right down the middle on top of you. The statistical likelihood of that happening is pretty low. So I don't know. There are pros and cons. Like the areas I want to live in will typically have like forest fires and shit, so I have to like weigh the pros and cons of like where I want to move and stuff. But we are going to go ahead and go on to the very last comment from JW. With you on the marriage thing, I've got 2 parents that went through a bitter divorce. Marriage is certainly not worth it for me unless there's a prenup. Can't imagine never having kids, though. I feel like my life would have less meaning if I never had children. I actually did respond to this comment on a separate video, but I did want to feature it one more time, so go ahead and fill in people who maybe don't watch those other random videos. So I had agreed with JW. He and I are like pretty close in opinions. So like marriage in general to me is like not worth. I don't think that I get enough value out of a marriage to make it worth it. That being said, I don't think there's any inherent meaning in life I think you have to like make your own meaning, but the closest inherent meaning is having children. I don't think that my life has to have meaning by having children, so that's why I don't care about having them. But I do agree, like in almost every case, just get a prenup. It can't hurt anything. Like it doesn't, even if you're not planning a divorce, like shit happens. It's better to be safer than sorry. Prenups only protect your assets incurred before you get married, not during, because when you guys are married, anything you gain from that point onwards is shared. So in most cases, like, you're not really going to be screwing over your spouse unless they're trying to screw you over, at which point, like, just run. If someone doesn't want to sign a prenup, they're usually the red flag issue, in my opinion, at least. But I'm just not interested in the idea of, like, okay, I'm not spiritual, so I don't care about, like, the religious aspects of a marriage. And I don't really need to have, like, the government involved with my love life. I don't really want to go with all, like, the extra hoops of that shit. So for me, it just seems like it's a better fit to not get married, and I'm lucky enough to have a girlfriend who is willing to make those compromises with me, and that's really pretty, and make sure that I'm feeling comfortable with our relationship situation. So I'm very lucky to have her. All that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this Respond to Comments video. I'm currently streaming live at twitch.tv/sortacasual. I would encourage you guys to check out those streams. You can always hit a follow for that, even if you're not on whenever I'm on. I do a lot of things on here. I do a lot of story times, a lot of talking, a lot of interaction with my chat. So if you ever want to talk to me live, this is a great format for you to do so. Do not forget to keep it casual.